This is all alleged, saying whether he did or didn't.
Not about smashing them or defending them, analyzing the facts, what sticks and don't.
This guy came to the SummerSlam show. He was at SmackDown, and he went and found the wrestler hotel, stayed at that hotel. The WWE is not happy about this because this guy here
Alleged
has done some sick stuff.
Rob Feinstein was also present in attendance during this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown.
He was behind them at SmackDown, and he was taking pictures with the wrestlers. This guy used to work for ECW.
He ended up buying Ring of Honor, and he actually worked, I think, their first TV deal they had.
And Ring of Honor fired him for the stuff that he did. Now he's showing up at WWE events and shit.
The original founder of both Ring of Honor and RF Video was Rob Feinstein, somebody who was caught by TV cameras attempting to meet up with a 14-year-old boy back in 2004, before he was later forced to resign from both companies.
When he got in that trouble, I think that cooked his goose in the wrestling business, because I don't think anybody wanted anything to do with it. I'm not sure of that.
Well, he was doing interviews for a long time afterwards on RF Video. A lot of people accepted his model.
Maxwell Jacob Friedman would originally wrestle under the name of Maxwell Jacob Feinstein.
My name is Maxwell Jacob Feinstein.
He would later drop the Feinstein name in June 2018, with the likes of William Regal, who was scouting him for WWE at the time, convincing him to change it. The reason for the change? Well, the name was actually suggested by Max himself when coach Brian Myers wanted a new ring name for him, who was then more than happy to go with Feinstein, although little did Max know that this was a complete rib.
About everybody has heard of the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment. It started out small back in the 1960s as the WWF. It became a wrestling monopoly by the 1990s, but now a tiny wrestling franchise has sprung up right here in Philadelphia, and it intends to give the WWE a run for its money. Gerald Colpad is here to tell us more about the Ring of Honor.
That's right, Joyce. The Ring of Honor. They've been in line since 4.
ROH! ROH! Ring of Honor is wrestling. This is what wrestling is supposed to be. It's the best talent in the United States. I don't care what Vince McMahon tells you.
Inside, it's no Spectrum or Wachovia. Home base is the Murphy Rec Center, rented for the night. It's approaching 100 degrees, but the fans don't care, as long as the action is hotter than they are.
My friends and I drive 5 hours every month to come up here to watch the greatest wrestling show we have ever seen, and it's Ring of Honor. So who cares if it's 100 degrees in here? Who cares if it's 20 degrees in here? The action makes it worthwhile, and that's why it's worth something to come see this.
They're eager to suffer, they say, because ROH is everything WWE is not. Unquotted, unsanitized, homegrown, and manned by those who have not yet been McMahon. Mania, but not WrestleMania.
We wanted to bring back wrestling as a sport, not as entertainment. And we came up with the idea around Christmas time to start our own wrestling promotion that didn't insult wrestling fans' intelligence.
And for the past 2 years, Ring of Honor has steadily built its base, collecting the $18 at the door, marketing t-shirts and videos, and earning fans throughout the nation and the world, all without an hour of TV time. Or the kind of money that makes the purse worth the pain.
Some guys get $25, some guys get $700, some guys get $1,500. It all depends on where you are on the card, how long you've been in the ring. So it's either you're making a name for yourself and you're going up, or you're already been up and now you're going down.
And remember this man? We originally thought his name was Timothy, another local man looking for a young girl. But he turned out to be this man, Robert Feinstein, a Langhorne businessman who promotes wrestling events. He has his own website with plenty of pictures of himself. We tried to catch up with him at his office and his home. But each time he saw us, he ran. And according to his chat log, he thought he was meeting a 14-year-old boy.
The day he walked up the steps leading to the bust house, he was the owner of arguably the second or third largest wrestling organization in the United States. And indeed, there were chat logs. Here's an example of the messages exchanged. How old are you? 23? Yeah, but that's older than me, and you can drive and drink, and I'm 14. And no one ever wants to see me because they say I'm jailbait. But I can't meet guys my age because they might tell guys at school. Damn, 14. See? I'll pretend you said 18. I look 18. I can buy smokes. You're so adorable. Damn, you're a little like 40 minutes from me. We could chill. And Rob Feinstein indeed tried to chill and got busted.
An incident that took place in 2004 where Feinstein had been caught meeting up with someone who he believed to be 14 years old.
NBC 10 aired a story showing a man who identified himself as Rob Feinstein arriving at the setup house and then leaving the scene once a camera crew and reporter confronted him. NBC 10 claims to have made the identification based on video analysis and the license plate number on the car. This time, no charges have been filed against Feinstein.
Major reason why he wasn't booked because it didn't go through the proper channel.
I've been to EMCU, and that's the Exploding Missing Children's Unit when I was a police officer, and I see the officers in these chat rooms conversating with grown men and they're pretending to be minors. Every state is different. Now, the case is they set up the sting, set up an arrangement to meet. That's where if the individual shows up at the property, then of course they swarm in, they arrest them, and then they go through the proper steps to prosecute to see if they have any weight to this situation. You know, that's how it goes. TV show. This reporter coming out, calling him Timmy. He takes off, jumps in his car, which was running, and then no police swarmed in on it. Well, that don't make sense.
Got to go through the proper channels. I'm not saying whether he did or didn't. I don't know him personally. That could be a major reason on why he wasn't charged with anything.
It's not about like smashing them or defending them, it's analyzing the facts, what sticks and don't stick.
The news broke out rather quickly. A word spread rapidly.
This is all alleged. When you start off your statement by, you guys are going to twist my words, for me, you're creating a safety net for when you fuck up and say something you weren't supposed to say.
It luckily was not a 14-year-old, and it was a sting operation conducted by the Perverted Justice Group, who have worked with NBC and To Catch a Predator and Dateline multiple times. They worked together in this instance with an NBC affiliate in Philadelphia to try to catch predators in the local area. Feinstein, when he found out that this was indeed not a 14-year-old and was a grown man or woman, decided to run back to his car, and the film crew would chase him in his pursuit back.
You know how many offers I got for shoot interviews? No. A lot. I turned down the RF one because he hit on me when I was 17. 17? Yeah. You want to shoot, you got to shoot.
Fans and wrestling personalities began to distance themselves from Feinstein, and within 24 hours, he announced his departure from his executive positions in both Ring of Honor and RF Video.
He's still around.
Logan Paul spotted with the controversial former owner of ROH, Rob Feinstein, which shocked fans in a big way as they wondered why Paul would associate with Feinstein. Feinstein took to Twitter and uploaded a couple of photos of himself alongside the Maverick. It is not known whether Logan Paul was aware of who Feinstein was before choosing to meet him, but fans feel it's still a very bad look on Paul's part and that it ultimately hurt his image. Rob Feinstein's career faced a significant setback in 2004 amid serious allegations. According to reports, Feinstein was implicated in a media sting operation aimed at uncovering alleged pedophiles in Philadelphia. This operation, a collaboration between NBC 10 and the website PervertedJustice.com, led to Feinstein being caught on tape during a sting operation. Feinstein was reportedly caught arriving at the location in his $70,000 Lexus, but upon being confronted by an NBC 10 reporter, he fled the scene. Shockingly enough,
Feinstein, he kind of cooked his goose.
Situation earlier this year. What happened, of course, is that there was a situation where there was a group of guys who, this was not an official, this was not a police action, this was not a legal situation. This is where pretty much an outlaw group who go around, they want to catch people who are into child pornography, that area. They went around unofficially off the record and came up with evidence, video footage that aired on television to a local affiliate of you going up to a house where they say that you expect to find a young child inside.
Well, here's the details. This is exactly what happened. And it had nothing to do with child pornography or anything like that. And they weren't the guys that actually caught me on video either. Here's the real story. This is exactly what happened. It was February 28th. I was in an adult chat room for adults on AOL. It had nothing to do with myself being in children's chat rooms. I was not on the internet stalking little kids or anything like this. I was in AOL, and I was in an adult chat room. I was approached by somebody. The person's profile, I don't know if you guys are familiar with AOL, where you can check somebody's profile. Well, this person's profile, said college student, had a bunch of information. I don't know if you guys know about profiles where you can click on the link and you can see pictures of the person. This person had 3 pictures of themselves. They were not naked or anything like that, and it was clear as day that it was an adult. It was not a child whatsoever. And in fact, a very well-known wrestling journalist over here in the United States, along with a lot of other people when the story first broke, saw the pictures, and he will tell you that it was never a 14-year-old person. It was a college person. I got into a conversation with the person online over, I believe it was a 2-day period. Had a lot of similar interests and stuff like that. And I talked to him for the first day. Everything was fine. He told me a lot of stuff that he was telling me seemed shady, but I related to a lot of his problems that he was going through. I talked to him the next day. When I talked to him the next day, he wanted to meet me. I was very, hesitant to meet him, and I talked to him on the phone a couple times. When I talked to this person on the phone, it was clear as day that it was an adult. It would be like me talking to you right now. You can tell from the person's voice, very mature. Had a conversation with them, even on the computer, very mature, and it was never. I don't know if you guys read the chat transcript, but I never ever initiated any sexual talk at all. I was not a pervert. There was this person that was trying to lure me in and get me to discuss a bunch of stuff that I'm not even into. So basically, what happened? I told the person before I even went up to go meet. I said, if we hang out, I am not having sex. I said, I'm not into that at all. I am coming up there to be your friend. And I said, it is your choice if you want me to come up there.
Did you say this in chat or did you say this on the phone?
What's that?
Did you say this, what you say
That's
now?
the transcript. You can read it. It's on their website. I said, absolutely no sex. I said, I'm coming up to be your friend. And, I said, in fact, when I talked to him on the phone, I was bringing another friend of mine. There's a mall by where this person lives. We were all going to go hang out or do whatever. There was no conversations, regarding sex. So the person's like, all right, come up. So I go up to the house, and when I get to the door, it was in a very nice residential neighborhood. Just when I got to the house, things didn't seem right. The house looked abandoned. As it turns out, I go to the front door, and I knock on the door. I'm telling you, as soon as I knock on the door, there's a camera shoved in my face with a reporter. Basically, the reporter comes and says to me, are you Timmy? And I was like, what? He goes, Timmy, your name's Timmy. He goes, why are you here to have sex with 2 14-year-old girls? At that moment, I was like, all right, I was just set up by NBC News, and I had nothing to say because I didn't know if it was live TV. So I ran to my car and I drove off. There's a website called Corrupted. I think it's corrupted-justice.com, or it might be corrupted-justice.com. They'll tell you all about the practices of perverted justice. They are known to add things to the transcripts. They lie. Basically, this website, Perverted Justice, is working with NBC that week. It was sweeps weeks here in Philadelphia, and they were trying to get ratings. What happened is when I was talking to these people on the computer, I was talking to a guy from Perverted Justice. Everything I was saying, he was, I guess, broadcasting it back to the NBC people who were waiting in this house. They rented out a house for the weekend in this neighborhood, and what they did is they lured potential predators or pedophiles, whatever you want to call them. They would get into conversations with them and lure them to this house. And it wasn't Perverted Justice that filmed me; it was the NBC.
So
and they basically set me up, and I took the bait, obviously, and I went to the house, and that's what happened.
So you can say on the record that you have never been involved with minors in this way. That people
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I never for a second thought it was a child. Never for, and there was never a child. It was an adult that I was talking to on the phone. It was in adult pictures. The chat transcript, is filled with lies, and there's so much stuff in that chat transcript that is just bullshit.
But did they add to your side of the chat?
What do you mean?
Did they add things in that you did?
Oh yeah, and that's what's being worked on. They added also sidebar comment. Like they shed me in a wrong light. Of course, they bolded certain things that they claimed that I said, and of course they never bolded the part of the conversation where I said no sex. I'm just gonna be your friend. So they played around with the chat, and I get have a chat with you, and I get add stuff. It's very easy to do.
If they set you up and if they added things to this chat transcript, have you considered taking them to court for defamation of character?
I am. I'm working on all of this right now with a lawyer. In fact, if you check out that website that I told you about, corruptedjustice.com, as we speak, there are 9 lawyers from 9 other people that there's going to be a joint action lawsuit against Perverted Justice. There's a lot of people going to be involved. They have ruined a lot of people's lives, a lot of innocent people's lives. Now, a lot of people ask me if I think what they're doing is a good idea, and it is, but they're going about it the wrong way, and they're harming a lot of innocent people that are not pedophiles or perverts. I've went on their website and I've read some of the conversations with some of the other people that they've done this to, and those people deserve to get what they got. But at the same time, the way this website Perverted Justice goes about it is entirely wrong. They entrap you, they lie to you, and they do a lot of stuff that they shouldn't be doing.
Well, I certainly appreciate you coming forward with your side of the story here on the Bagpipe Report. I'm sure that this will be met much like your original incrimination with a lot of discussion online through wrestling fans.
How did Rob Feinstein's situation affect Ring of Honor? At the time in 2004, they had a good roster and had worked out deals with other wrestling promotions like TNA.
Even Ring of Honor talent had comments about such a Samoa Joe.
March 8, 2004, coming home to the chaos. Well, 14 hours on a plane and finally home. And in the thick of it all, there is nothing I would like better to do than talk about my latest German excursion and expound on a positive experience I have had, but alas I can't. This is only a portion of my thoughts and feelings on Rob Feinstein. Rob, please do not allow yourself to ever enter my sight. My anger for you and your actions far surpass anyone or anything imaginable. Your heinous, terrible acts are beyond excuse and explanation. Your shame is yours alone and forced upon us by your arrogance and lies. Though others formerly close to you are holding their tongue and focusing their efforts on salvaging what your sick, selfish and stupid actions have caused, I have the luxury of telling you that I hope you get exactly what you deserve. My gut instinct tells me I hope you are found one morning without breath, but in reality as a decent human being. Unlike you, I hope you find some help for your sickness. As for Roe, I will be at 3/13 and all whatever future dates I am able to attend. Roe is much larger than one individual, and I am only coming back on the assurance that Rob Feinstein is done with Roe and all associated companies. To all the naysayers, your criticism are valid, but you must also know that I am participating on the word that none of the money from my appearance or any other wrestler will be benefited upon by Rob. Roe is something that not only myself but every guy in the locker room has literal blood, sweat, and tears invested into building. This is not about saving a paycheck. This is about saving a place we have taken pride in working in and have done our very best to build. There are others out there which I hope I will address my issues to personally, and in a civil manner, including Eric Gargiulo, whose rant about Rob in my eyes was completely justified except for the convenient insertion of CZW rhetoric which has nothing to do with the situation. My question is why wait till now to air this about Rob? Once again, no strikes against Eric. He, like many others who work within the confines of independent wrestling, deserve all the support we could get in an industry that is waning. So I implore you all to remember who your wholesale comments are really affecting. To fans and foes of Roe, please be assured that if indeed the dismissal of Rob is a fake, I have no problem making such public, handing back the belt and or melting it down for a new 9-iron and hopefully catching a few rounds of golf with Bob Barnett. To Rob, once again, I hope you're happy your situation has hurt so many who trusted you to do no more than not be a fucking sicko loser. I am ashamed that at a time I spoke well of you and your respect for my comments resulted in this. Hey, all those guys work for me. I believe wear your words. You could not have been more wrong since I worked for just about everyone else in that picture except for you. And I hope your horrible acts will not prevent me to continue to do so. I am sure my sentiments are shared by the rest of the roster who will appear on 3/13. Thank you for the read, and I hope we come to a possible resolution to this tragic and sad series of events. Samoa Joe.
Insiders felt Rob Feinstein was still pulling strings from the shadows. Apparently, Feinstein was telling people he was just laying low, which only added confusion.
TNA also pulled out of their deal with Ring of Honor.
For months, wrestlers felt he was involved, and by June, Ring of Honor finally bought him out.
But he had a guy buy the company, Kerry Silkin.
His share went to Kerry Silkin.
Ended up buying Ring of Honor.
Despite his controversy, Rob Feinstein found RF video. video, creating shoot interviews with the names in wrestling, despite his past accusations.
When he got in that trouble that he got in, I think that cooked his goose in the wrestling business, because I don't think anybody wanted anything to do with it.
Well, he was doing interviews for a long time afterwards on RF Video. A lot of people accepted his money.
Oh yeah, he's still around.